not sleep. The image of the death-filled nails stayed in her mind. Where had he been digging? And why? She waited until the village was quiet. Then she took a small lamp and slipped out of her hut. She went to the north path, to the direction the hunters had come from. The moon was high, but the shadows of the trees still made the path dark. After a while, she reached the quarry. It was silent except for the soft chirp of night insects. She walked to the center, her lamp lighting the ground in a small circle. Then she saw it, a patch of freshly turned soil. Kneeling, she touched it. It was still damp. Before she could dig further, a voice spoke behind her. "Mama." She turned, and in the lamplight stood both Musas. She froze, unable to speak. The lamp shook in her hands. How can you both be here?" she whispered. The first Musa stepped forward. "We followed you." The second Musa smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You should not have come here, Mama." Her eyes darted between them. "What is under the soil?" Neither answered. Then, from beneath the ground, came a sound. A slow, muffled thump. Then another. Mama Kanda stepped back, clutching the lamp tighter. The first Musa reached for her. "We have to go." The second Musa crouched by the soil. "No, we have to open it." The thumping grew louder. The thumping didn't stop. It was slow, like a heavy drum far away, but it seemed to come from right beneath Mama Kanda's feet. The second Musa knelt down, his fingers clawing at the fresh soil. The first Musa grabbed his arm. "Stop it. We are not supposed to touch this." The second Musa didn't look at him. "If you are truly me, you know we have no choice." Mama Kanda took a step back, her lamp casting jumping shadows on the quarry walls. "Tell me what is there," she demanded, her voice shaking. Neither man answered. The soil began to shift on its own, small clumps rolling down the small mound. The thumping grew faster. "Something is alive down there," Mama Kanda whispered. The first Musa stepped closer to her. "Mama, we must go now. This is not for you to see." But the second Musa's hands were moving faster, dirt flying behind him. His breathing was heavy, almost wild. Then his fingers hit something solid. A dull sound, not rock. He dug around it until a piece of cloth showed, dark and damp. Mama Kanda's heart pounded. She wanted to run, but her legs felt fixed to the ground. The second Musa pulled harder. The cloth tore. Something pale showed underneath. The first Musa shoved the second aside and dropped to his knees, quickly covering the pale shape with soil again. "Stop," he barked. "You don't know what you're doing." The second Musa laughed, a laugh that didn't sound like joy. "Of course I do. I buried it." Mama Kanda's stomach turned. "You buried what?" The second Musa's eyes glittered in the lamplight. "Not what? Who?" The first Musa stood quickly and pulled Mama Kanda away. "Don't listen to him. He's lying." The thumping sound stopped suddenly. The night grew still, too still. Even the insects were silent now. Then, without warning, the soil caved in slightly, like something underneath had moved. The second Musa smiled wider. "It's waking up." Before any of them could move, a deep, dragging sound came from beneath the soil, like someone pulling themselves closer to the surface. Mama Kanda's breathing was loud in her own ears. The first Musa gripped her arm tightly. "We have to leave." The second Musa was still kneeling, watching the ground like a hunter waiting for prey. A shape began to rise, not all at once, but in slow, uneven jerks. It was wrapped in the same dark cloth, knotted around the middle. The smell hit them next. It was not the smell of rot, but something sharper, like metal, like old blood left too long in the sun. Mama Kanda stumbled back, her lamp shaking so hard the light jumped over the quarry walls like frightened birds. The second Musa reached out as if to touch the rising shape. The first Musa yanked her arm. "Run!" They ran. The lamp nearly slipped from Mama Kanda's hands as her sandals scraped the quarry path. She could hear the second Musa's laughter behind them, echoing off the stone. But when they reached the edge of the village, the laughter stopped. The first Musa slowed, looking over his shoulder. The quarry path was empty. Mama Kanda gasped for air. Where is he? Did he follow us? The first Musa's eyes darted across the trees. No. But he will come. And when he does, he didn't finish. They reached the square, where a few late-night fires still burned. The chief, who had been waiting, saw their faces and stood immediately. What happened? The first Musa looked straight at him. We need to lock the quarry. The chief frowned. You cannot lock a hole in the ground. The first Musa's voice was flat. Then we locked the whole village. By morning, the elders had gathered. The first Musa refused to speak of what they had seen, only saying that no one should go near the quarry again. Madam Ino listened quietly, then said, the second Musa will not be gone for long. He has something to finish. Mama Kanda looked at her with tired eyes. What does he want? The old woman's gaze moved slowly from the chief to the first Musa. He doesn't want. He needs. And the worst part is, he doesn't need us to choose anymore. The chief leaned forward. What do you mean? Madam Ino's voice dropped. He will choose for us. A heavy silence filled the square. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster crowed, but it sounded wrong, too deep, almost like a laugh. That night, the air in the village felt heavy. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Mama Kanda sat by her door, clutching her lamp. She could not sleep. Every sound, a snapping twig, a barking dog, made her heart jump. Far away, she thought she heard footsteps. Slow. Steady. Coming closer. She peeked into the dark. The moon was thin, barely enough light to see by. But there, just past the palm tree, a shadow moved. Musa, she whispered, though she knew she didn't mean the first one. The shadow stopped. Then, without warning, it began walking again, not toward her, but toward the center of the village. Mama Kanda gripped her lamp and followed quietly. In the village square, a group of elders sat around the dying fire. They were speaking in low voices when the second Musa appeared from the shadows. No one moved. He stepped forward, his smile slow and cold. You sit here, making rules, he said softly. But you forget. I know every path, every hiding place, every fear in this village. I know because I am him. The chief's hand tightened on his staff. Leave this place. The second Musa tilted his head. Why? You let my other self stay. The first Musa, who had been standing in the dark behind the fire, stepped forward. Because I am not you. The second Musa's eyes gleamed. You are me. You just forgot what we can do. The wind picked up suddenly, carrying the smell from the quarry, that sharp, metallic tang. The elders shifted uncomfortably. The second Musa looked at them one by one. Do you know what lies under your feet? Do you want to see what I brought back with me? Mama Kanda felt her knees weaken. She wanted someone to shout at him, to chase him away, but the words stuck in everyone's throat. The first Musa stepped closer. If you open it, you will not control it. The second Musa laughed quietly. That's the difference between you and me. I don't want control. I want release. Before anyone could speak again, there was a noise from the far side of the square, a dragging sound, slow and wet. Every head turned. Something was moving between the huts. The shadows hid its shape, but it was big. Bigger than a man. Mama Kanda's lamp shook in her hands. It followed you, she whispered. The second Musa's smile widened. It's not following me. It's coming for you. The first Musa moved in front of the elders. Stay back, he warned. But the thing in the shadows didn't stop. Its steps were uneven, like it was learning to walk again. The smell was stronger now. And then they saw the cloth, the same dark cloth from the quarry, trailing behind it like a snake. The fire crackled and died, plunging the square into near darkness. No one breathed. The creature stopped just at the edge of the light. Its head tilted in a way no human head should tilt. Then, in a voice that was almost a whisper, it spoke. Not in the language of the village. Not in any language Mama Kanda had ever heard. But the second Musa nodded, as if he understood perfectly. He turned to the elders. It wants what I promised it. The chief's voice trembled. And what is that? The second Musa's answer was soft, almost gentle. Blood. The wind howled through the huts, rattling the thatched roofs. The elders huddled together, their eyes fixed on the creature at the edge of the square. The first Musa stepped forward, his jaw tight. You will not take anyone here, he said firmly. The creature tilted its head again, and a sound like low laughter came from deep inside it. The second Musa's voice was calm. It doesn't care about your rules. It came because I called it. And now it is hungry. Mama Kanda's heart pounded. She had heard old tales of spirits that lived under the earth, but none had ever spoken of one that could follow a man home. The chief gripped his staff. If you brought it, you will send it back. The second Musa's smile was thin. I could. But why would I, when it can give me everything I want? The creature moved closer, its steps making a wet sound on the dusty ground. The lamp in Mama Kanda's hand flickered as the smell grew stronger. It stopped in front of the first Musa and bent slightly, as if sniffing him. Then it spoke again in that strange, twisting language. The second Musa nodded. It knows you. It knows you are the one who left without finishing the bargain. The first Musa's eyes widened. I never made a bargain. The second Musa shook his head slowly. Oh, but you did. You just don't remember. Mama Kanda felt a shiver run down her spine. If what he said was true, then the first Musa had been hiding something since the day he returned. The elders began to murmur, fear spreading like smoke. What bargain? The chief demanded. The creature stepped back and pointed, not with a hand, but with something long and jointed like a twisted branch, toward the hills beyond the quarry. The second Musa's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. It wants you to come back there. Tonight. The first Musa's voice shook. If I go, it will follow me forever. Not if you finish what you started, the second Musa said. Mama Kanda felt her breath catch. She could see the truth on the first Musa's face. He knew what the creature wanted, and it terrified him. The chief turned to the first Musa. If this thing is here because of you, then you must end it. The second Musa's laugh was soft, almost pitying. You think ending it will save you? Once you've let it into your dreams, it never leaves. The creature began to sway slowly, side to side, like a tree in the wind. Its strange voice rose and fell, and Mama Kanda realized with horror that the sound was inside her head, not her ears. Images flashed in her mind, deep tunnels, bones buried in red soil, and a doorway made of stone with no end behind it. She gripped her head and fell to her knees. Around her, others gasped and clutched at their temples. The second Musa stepped forward, his voice low but clear. The longer we wait, the more it will feed. It doesn't need your blood now, it is already drinking your fear. The chief's voice cracked. Take it away from us. The second Musa glanced at the first Musa. You heard him. You lead the way. The first Musa stared into the dark hills. His lips trembled as if he were about to speak, but instead, he began to walk. The creature followed, its long shadow stretching across the square. The second Musa smiled once at the elders, then trailed behind them. Mama Kanda knew she should stay away. She knew nothing good could come from following. But her feet began to move anyway. The hills loomed ahead, black against the moonlight. The first Musa step slowed as they reached the mouth of the old quarry. The air was colder here. The creature stopped at the edge, tilting its head toward the darkness below. The second Musa stood beside him. "Go on," he said softly. "You know the way." The first Musa's voice was low. "I never wanted this. I only wanted to come home." "You came home with a shadow," the second Musa replied. "And shadows must be carried to their end." They entered the quarry. The ground was damp, the smell of the earth strong. Every sound seemed to echo back at them. Mama Kanda followed at a distance, her heart pounding. She could see the creature moving with strange, jerking grace, never touching the ground fully, always swaying. The first Musa stopped in front of a narrow crack in the rock. He reached out and touched it. The stone felt warm. "This is where I saw it first," he whispered. "When the earth closed behind me, I thought I had died. But it spoke to me. It offered a way out." "And the price?" the chief, who had followed in silence, asked. The first Musa looked at his hands. "A life. Not mine. Someone else's." The creature's strange voice filled the quarry, low and insistent. The second Musa's eyes shone faintly. "It has waited long enough." The first Musa turned to Mama Kanda. "It wants you. It chose you the day I returned." Mama Kanda stepped back. "Why me?" The first Musa's voice broke. "Because you were the first to welcome me home." The chief raised his staff. "No one will be taken from this village tonight." The creature hissed, the sound like steam escaping from the earth. Its form began to blur, stretching taller. Then the second Musa stepped between them. "Take me," he said. The first Musa stared in shock. "What are you doing?" The second Musa smiled faintly. "I am only your shadow. Without you, I am nothing. Let me end where you began." The creature paused. Then, slowly, it reached out its long, jointed limb and touched the second Musa's forehead. There was a sound like rushing wind, and the second Musa's body dissolved into dust that sank into the ground. The creature's shape wavered once, and then it was gone. The quarry was silent. The first Musa sank to his knees, tears falling into the dirt. "He was me," he whispered. "He was the part of me I left behind in the dark." The chief placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then he chose to save you." Mama Kanda watched the crack in the rock. It was cold now, no warmth left in it. But deep inside, she thought she could still hear a faint, slow heartbeat. They walked back to the village in silence, the moon watching from above. The first Musa never spoke of the quarry again. But sometimes, at night, Mama Kanda would wake to see him standing in the square, staring toward the hills. And in the distance, when the wind was just right, she thought she heard that low, strange laughter.
Let them part with open arms, let go of heart. For those who shine will find their way, while we grow strong with every day.